Hello, everyone. We'll give maybe another minute for everybody to join, and I see that a number of attendees is just growing and growing. Let's just give it another minute and we'll kick off this event then. Maybe another 30 seconds. There we go. Okay, so I believe we're good to start, and welcome everyone who is joining us today from all around the globe, hopefully. Let us know in the chat box where you are based right now, and do use the chat box throughout the call for your questions to our speakers today. Our lovely colleagues behind the scenes, Miriam and Emilia, will be monitoring chat and passing your questions through. I'm excited to host this event today with my wonderful colleagues, Paul, Nan, Jana, and Nadia. My name is Elena Simonova, and I've been with Microsoft now for a little over than 10 years. I'm part of the recruitment team that leads hiring strategy for our EMEA Digital Sales Hub in Ireland. And in the past 10 years, I've changed about 4 roles at Microsoft, well, actually 5 now. I've worked across multiple countries in Europe and had an opportunity to support senior leaders in very, very different functions. The EMEA Digital Sales team that I'm supporting now is close to 1,200 people now, maybe even slightly more now, headquartered in Dublin, in Ireland, and has an amazing diversity of talent that brings very different cultures, very different backgrounds and spoken languages together in our superb office in Leopardstown. I have with me on this call today, Paul Delahanty, Specialist Digital Sales Director, Nadia Neugebauer, our Corporate Account Manager, Canan Kutlu, who is leading our Business Application Sales team, and Jana Imis, Enterprise Digital Specialist. Today, the topic and the focus, what we want to cover is career development. We want to share with you some insights on how it looks like at Microsoft, and we'll talk about real life stories and experiences that we personally had so far at Microsoft. We'll then, closer to the end of the event, open for Q&A, so make sure to post questions to the chat box. And Paul, let me start with your introduction. You've been with Microsoft, oh my God, for 26 years now. That's impressive. 8 different roles. Tell us more about your journey, ups and downs and challenges and wins.
Okay, so first of all, thanks to everybody for joining and taking time out of your busy days to listen to us talk. So first of all, 8 roles isn't exactly true. I'm trying to keep my LinkedIn profile a bit simpler than if I included all the roles I've been in over the last 26 years. But yeah, I joined Microsoft in 1996, so a year after Windows 95 was released, and probably after many people on the call were born, which I'm embarrassed to say. But I joined in 1996 with the plan of staying in Microsoft for 2 years. I decided I'd come in, get 2 years experience, and I'd go and find my next big role. But look, everybody has different motivations, and after I joined Microsoft, what I found was that I loved the variety of roles available. I loved the challenge available, and I started with, like, to give an example of kind of how my careers went. I joined Microsoft straight from college after a computer science degree. I started as a programmer, working on our internal systems in Microsoft. But since then, I've managed to work in IT. I've worked as a director of a global supply chain. I've worked on a massive merger and acquisition about 20 years ago. I've worked managing program managers, and I'm now currently working in sales. And the one thing I'd say, the reason I'm in Microsoft so long after joining with my plan of 2 years is that there aren't many companies that can offer you this number of diverse roles in one location. And the second thing is that it's let me reinvent myself every 4 or 5 years. I've been able to change role, change discipline. Like, to go from supply chain management to sales is a pretty drastic change. But Microsoft tends to invest in the person, not just what you've done in the past. They look at you as someone that can do things in the future. So for me, I could never see myself doing the same job for 10 years. And Microsoft has supported me moving roles and moving disciplines multiple times since I've been here. So, I mean, I haven't loved every role I've had. Some of them have been great, some of them have been not so great. But the thing is, even when you join a role that's not so great, you don't have to stay for 10 years. It's not going to be the only job you'll have in Microsoft. So you can learn what you can from it and find something new that's going to challenge you in ways that you want to. So I suppose for me, the big thing is I love the diversity of work. I love the diversity of the people here. And I love the fact I can constantly reinvent myself. For the last 26 years, it's been tough to explain to any of my family what I do. They do not understand what I do because I change so often. So I've stopped trying. All they know is they can ask me to help fix their computer. But you have to live with that when you work in a company with as broad opportunities as Microsoft have.
Well, that's exciting, Paul. This is really great. Thank you for sharing. And yeah, amazing. Canan, you've been with Microsoft for almost 11 years now and worked in 2 countries and 4 different teams. Talk us through your story and what was the biggest learning for you throughout your career so far.
Thank you, Elena. Lovely to be here today, guys. As we heard from Paul as well, Microsoft is a choice of long-term career when you join us. You don't join for only one role. Our company offers endless of opportunities, and our culture are highly promoting learn and develop mindset. So in my case, I joined Microsoft in 2011 as an enterprise segment sales manager for Turkey. In this role, I managed multiple disciplines such as account managers, technology strategists, industry experts, and we work for manufacturing, retail, and consumer goods industries. In my 3rd year, I was selected for a special rotation program in Redmond and to develop leadership skills, further leadership skills. And I went to Redmond to work with enterprise industry teams on a project related with manufacturing industry and building alliances with global SIs. And after my return, I moved to partner sales management role. Again, I managed a team of, sales executives, partner technology strategists. And then, I had a chance to participate to a global manager excellence advisory board, and I work with highly diverse multinational teams on designing manager readiness programs with corp HR team. And after this role, I had another role as enterprise channel manager, and in this role, I was not a people manager, but I was a senior IC. And then I work with big 4 companies, these advisory firms like Deloitte, Accenture, PwC, and EY, and global system integrators as well. So I gained another experience on working with such big consultant companies, and we were working on digital transformation journey of our customers. So it was an additional learning for me. And then in 2018, I moved to Dublin to join digital sales organization. And after my move, I had 2 different roles. So I managed account executive team for Israel and Turkey, and then I managed Middle East and Africa and Germany team for the specialist BizApps specialist group. And again in this role, I have another stretch assignment, and I'm in a global field seller council. And there are, as you see here, there are multiple options to stretch your capacity and develop new skills in Microsoft. And your development is not limited with your core responsibility. You can always take additional responsibilities. An additional side note, I'm hiring, so I'm very curious about, who is participating and who will be with us after the event, actually. So Elena, what I would like to give as the last message to your question. So it is really important to have the open mindset in Microsoft and, learn from your experiences, learn from your colleagues, not to be afraid of failing, but just learning, focusing on learning and developing for the next, roles yourself. Thank you.
Canan, that's actually a very, very inspiring story. Thank you, and thank you for sharing with us. And I'll move to Nadia. And Nadia, you almost 5 years at Microsoft, right? And you actually recently won a Microsoft Gold Club Award. Talk us about your career journey so far and what inspires you in particular.
Thank you, Elena. Hi, everybody. Very honored and happy to be part of the panel discussion today. So I'm half German, half Moroccan. I moved to Dublin about 6 years ago, and then I joined Microsoft in 2016 when our digital sales organization was just getting started. I was actually in wave 8, and back then we were less than 200 employees, I would say. And I started as an inside sales representative and as part of our demand response team. selling our business application solutions known as Dynamics 365 into the SMB market in Switzerland. I got promoted after a year to account executive, where I was managing Swiss customers in our corporate mid-market segment in the German-speaking part of Switzerland. Just a small note here, in a lot of companies, account executive is actually new business, but at Microsoft is an account manager role. So just like a small clarification here. The role is very different from anything I had done so far in my career. So it was quite the learning curve, to be honest. So you're owning about 50 accounts and a territory. So you're the main point of contact in front of the customer, but also the face of Microsoft. You're orchestrating a V team, so you would have about like 13 sellers and specialists working with you on those customers. You're also co-selling with partners, as we're a partner-driven organization. So your role will be really to grow and transform these customers through upselling, cross-selling, leveraging programs, and also different workshops. So it is a very diverse role where you never stop learning, and you definitely don't do the same thing every day. So I did that a little bit over 2 years. I then got the opportunity to take over the Romandie, so that's the French-speaking part of Switzerland, back in November 22, so still within the same team. And this was and still is such a fantastic experience because I could take all the learnings from 2+ years in role and apply them to a brand new territory. This was also an eye-opening experience, to be honest, as I did do things differently. Although, again, it is the same scope of role. But I learned from my previous mistakes, and it was quicker for me to execute on the day-to-day tasks and have a bigger impact. So this was then recognized by my leadership team when I was fortunate to be awarded Gold Club last July. And outside of my core role, just to mention a little bit, like maybe to give you an impression about what life is at Microsoft. So Janan had just mentioned like the different stretch assignments and projects you can get involved in. So myself, I'm very grateful to be part of an amazing team of people first ambassadors, such as Jana, actually, where we contribute to creating a great working environment by bringing our people close together across all areas of the business within Microsoft EMEA Digital Sales, and by doing so, inspiring everyone to be their best. So as part of that, I'm leading the Humans of Digital Sales initiative, which has the intent to celebrate diversity, but also to drive inclusion through monthly stories, which are published in our newsletter, but also on our SharePoint. On another note, I'm also part of the Careers V team, where I'm leading the Career Advisory Board, which we have just launched this quarter, with the goal to invest in our people and create clarity for individuals in their careers, helping them do the next step with bespoke leadership input.
Well, the Career Advisory Board, that's really interesting. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Of course. So this was actually an initiative which started in our Australian and New Zealand Microsoft Sales Center. So it is an opportunity for discovery and exploration for individual contributors to seek guidance and advice on how they can progress their careers with our leadership team. So candidates are being nominated by their managers and then selected by our leadership team. If successful, they would have 45-minute session with 3 members of our leadership team, which really is a fantastic opportunity for us to promote our top talent internally at Microsoft, but on the other hand, also to help specific employees in their career when it comes to making that next step, because for some people it might not be as clear, or like you're trying to, you know, change or like profession, organizations. So really it's an opportunity for the individual contributors to gain support, sponsorship and mentorship in areas that they want to grow and develop. Also maybe coming back to your question, Elena, about like what inspires me. So this might sound a little bit cliche, but it was always my dream to work at Microsoft. So during my first job in Lisbon, right after graduating university, the Microsoft office was right across my building. And I used to pass by it every day during my lunch break thinking, this is where I want to be working at. So there's a lot of things I value and enjoy about Microsoft and its culture that really go past our mission to empower every organization and every person on the planet to achieve more. Each and all of us are given a lot of freedom and opportunity to make an impact every day when it comes to, you know, executing our job, or also like the stretch assignments or projects that you would get involved in. But really, if I had to sum it up when it comes to like what really, you know, like gives me that drive, is really like mentoring and coaching others. So you would always have that option as well, like within your team or across the region, leading a team to success and also celebrating it together, learning new things, coming up with creative ideas to improve something and try different things. And I think most of all is you feel like you're part of something bigger. And this in a multicultural setting. And that personally gives me energy to continuously thrive for more.
That's really superb and really inspiring as well. Congratulations with your Gold Club award, Nadia, and that's very impressive.
Thank you, Elena.
I'll move to Jana. Jana, you have just joined us a little over a year now, and already had a major impact on the team, organization, and even changed roles already. What's your key to success?
Okay, so hello everybody. I am glad to be here today. Thank you so much for this opportunity. A little bit about me, background story. I am Russian and German, so I combine the beauties of the two words, the organized chaos. So I speak Russian and German. Remember this fact, very important. Okay, I joined the organization 15 months ago. I come from the strictly startup mentality. I only worked in startups and only in the educational sector. So it means that this was my work experience and that's it. Remember this fact, startups, Russian, German. I didn't have any tech experience. I was like, uh-oh, I dream of working in Microsoft, but what if I apply without any work experience in that? I know that I'm a good salesperson. I sell like I breathe. I speak Russian and German, but is it enough to join Microsoft? Let's send an application. So that's what I did. And here we are 15 months later. How it started. I joined Microsoft to support small and medium businesses with Azure sales in Russian language. It means I helped Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, Georgia, Azerbaijan, Russia, Ukraine, Georgia, and many other countries that speak Russian. And I helped them grow. I helped them grow. I loved it because any small decision at Microsoft can change the life of employees of these companies, of that company, GDP of the country, and directly contribute to the future that we live in. It was so cool. Then I made a super big jump from SMB to enterprise, from Russian speaking to German speaking, and from demand response, the initial answering the calls of the customers, to cloud acquisition. So right now I work with Austria in German, and I help huge enterprises with their path to Microsoft clouds. You know, we have a few clouds. Yeah, so this is how it started. There's a few things of how you can be successful, a few points or key points. And for me, that is networking, super important, and learning. But not just, oh, I have a network, oh, I have knowledge. You have to apply those two. So how you do that? I give you secret advices. So forget about such thing that is called transactional small talk. You know, how was your weekend? How was the weather? Okay, bye, let's start business. No, that's not how I do things. I schedule coffee with everybody, e-coffee or coffee with your direct team members, with your subsidiary, because you work with them every day, with your extended network, and look out for the superstars, the ones who constantly get awards, the ones that seem to have it super easy for them. Make a call, ask them for a secret. And the beauty is that in Microsoft, people share. It's so weird. Everybody shares everything because knowledge is power, sharing is power. And I realized it early enough and started sharing myself. And this is the reason why I'm here today. So this is the strategy. Make the coffee connection. Don't just ask them about the weather or the weekend. Ask them what makes their heart beat. Ask them what they do after work. Ask them, what are your targets? Let's compare what are mine, how we can make this work together. Yeah, it's about people's business, but it's also about sales. In sales jobs, the more the company earns, the more we do. I mean, direct correlation. So that's what I love about it. Focus on networking, step number 1. Focus on learning, step number 2. So we have mandatory exams. We have every month a session where all day you learn. You learn, it's learning day. This is super cool. Where else would you think you can have it? It's so cool, a day of learning. We have mandatory exams, security, compliance, fundamentals, but we have so much more that you can learn for free. So just take it. Like medic, sales, technology, sales, navigator, everything you can seriously learn. So I'm taking the courses right now. PowerPoint God, Excel God, Power BI God. So I do these courses so that I can as well save my time every day at work to make sure my customers are happy, I'm happy, company gets the money, I get the money, and everybody is, satisfied. Last but not least, when you join the company, you have 1, 2, or 3 months of onboarding time where you can breathe in, breathe out, learn, shadow the calls of your colleagues, already listen and watch the videos, hands-on videos of how the things are done, learn and breathe. You have time. Don't get overwhelmed, because I wanted, as a high achiever, right away pass everything, take all the exams, do the learnings. So I was like, sleep is overrated, but that wasn't needed. My manager was like, you look pretty dead. Would you like to take a nap? I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you don't need to hurry. You're learning, you're in onboarding, you're here to learn. Why are you here to achieve such quick results? And I was like, are you sure I can take a nap? He's like, yeah, there is meditation class, there's yoga class, take those, sleep, and then return when you're ready. I would not expect this in such a valuable company in the world, to have it relaxed, to have a normal schedule, to be a human, to remain a human, and to have still time to learn and earn. Thank you so much.
I really love this, Jana. Thank you for sharing. And I absolutely love the photos that you post on your LinkedIn page with the meetings that you regularly have. Maybe you can tell me just a few words about those meetings that you. How often do you get it? Like once a month or something in Dublin? Mute, Jana.
Hello, everybody. So this was my initiative. I arrived in Dublin. It was COVID. It was dark and cold. And I was like, the system is not working. When the system is not working, you have to create your own system. So that's what I did. It was strange for me that in Dublin, we have all these companies, right? All these tech companies. And we don't have a networking event that combines all of them. Microsoft has something for ourselves, another company for themselves, but what about together? So that we can recruit more people for Microsoft. So I was like, we need to do something, and I did. My first meeting was in June 2021 with 8 people from, I think, 3 different companies. Now, every 2 weeks we meet and we reach 130 people from 30 or 40 companies. Next one is this Friday in Dublin. So every 2 weeks you can come, network in quiet time, and then the party starts. Whatever interests you. Yeah, so this is called Techies in Dublin. You can check on my LinkedIn, sign up, come, everybody's welcome.
That's pretty awesome. Thank you, Jana. And I actually have a question for all of our speakers today. What is so unique about Microsoft Ireland to you personally? And maybe I can start with Janan to cover this question.
Yeah, for me, Elena, it is, it's a big, highly multinational environment, and we have a huge diversity here. Diversity is not only the gender diversity, of course, it is, the backgrounds, culture. As an example, we have 1,000 employees in our organization from 75 different companies, and we are talking countries, and we are talking 35 different languages. So think about, the richness of this culture. And then we have a big, diversity on the seniority level of the roles as well, not the roles, but the people on the roles as well. So we have in the same role, different level of seniorities. So each team member has an opportunity to learn something related with their job, or sometimes related with their, the customers, or sometimes it's related with only the, the culture of the country of the other person. So it's amazing, and it's so rich, and I like it very much. And it's a very energetic environment, of course. So you feel we have an amazing office, and you feel the energy every day when you enter to the office. And we became a very big, very successful solution hub for EMEA. The feeling is amazing for me.
That's pretty cool. I get very much excited whenever I get a chance to travel to Dublin and see that with my own eyes. And maybe Paul, if you can share your take on what's so unique about Microsoft Ireland to you personally.
Yeah, so I mean, the thing about Microsoft Ireland is it's different from most other Microsoft locations around the world. So Microsoft in the US would have all the different roles available to people. Most Microsoft subsidiaries around the world, if you look at the UK, if you look at France, places like that, it tends to be a sales office where we'll have salespeople and we'll have some marketing, channel and marketing people as well. In Ireland, we have product engineering, we've got localization, we've got operations, we've got digital sales, we've also got a field sales subsidiary, we've a data center, and like I could keep going. We basically have representation from all the different groups in Microsoft. So oftentimes when people find themselves working in a local subsidiary, there isn't really many roles outside of sales, but in Dublin, you can move between disciplines very easily because we have all those different groups. You know, Microsoft has been here in Dublin over, I think it's almost 35 years, and we've added all the different groups over time. So part of the reason I've stayed beyond my initial plan of 2 years was because I've been able to move between groups like that. And that continues to be, for me, the unique thing about Ireland that I can get in Ireland that I can't get anywhere else from Microsoft unless I move to the States.
That's cool. And Jana, what would be your take?
Okay, so the campus. I have 2 points to mention here. I believe the campus is extraordinary, but I also think the people are. But to explain the best why, I will just tell you about my day. So I saw some people here are from Amsterdam, Germany, Austria. So you understand me. I cycle 365 days a year. A day. It means I cycle, doesn't matter what. So from me to Microsoft is 40 minutes uphill. When I arrived to Microsoft, I put my bicycle in the garage, and if it was raining, I take my clothes. There is a place where you can dry your clothes. Then you enter, and it's gym and changing area with fresh towels and everything provided. You're like, okay, let's start. Then you're done there, you go upstairs. Upstairs, I grab a coffee, which is like €1. Then I go to meet my friends in the Russian and Ukrainian corner. I'm like, high five. Then I go to the second floor. Austria, Germany, Western Europe on the other corner, high five everybody, then grab my breakfast. Breakfast is so good. And then I go to the rooftop. Rooftop, sunshine, you're like, life is great. And then we have, I think, 5 floors. Every zone has indicated like places where we sit. You know exactly where your friends are or your enemies, so you kind of go far away from them. It's so cool. And there's the stairs in the middle where you go up and down, up and down. So by the end of the day, you have 10,000 steps without even, you know, working hard. So this is amazing. This flexibility, open space, the restaurants, the cafes, the way they're done. So there's this constant flow of information, positive smiles, amazing people around you. I love this. But the people, the last 15 months, I met 700 people approximately from 50 to 70 countries. And, you know, I'm 30. So whenever you turn 30, you meet friends at school or university or studies or MBA, but not so many. You don't become friends with like everybody. Yeah, you take your time because you're more picky with age. And here I seriously met so many friends. I'm going to cry. Some of them are going to line up for my wedding. I can confirm you when the date, you know, is scheduled. Yeah, so I love it. The people and the campus is just so great. So I hope you guys all come here.
Cool. Nadia, you touched a little bit earlier about the cultural richness, and maybe that's something that you want to comment on as well, with your take on what's so unique for you at about Microsoft Ireland.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So maybe I would definitely say that I would agree with what Paul and Jana just said. We have our EMEA hub here, so the variety of options you could have for your career track, but also the diversity of the people and the cultural richness are fantastic. Everyone is very genuine, so it's something that I did appreciate quite a lot. And you do make friends for life. We have so many different nationalities. In the office, you can hear different languages that are being spoken whenever you walk through, which is quite refreshing. And you do get a buzz when in our unique office. And something that we're talking about it with Jana and our People First Ambassador meeting is that like it really feels like a little bit like the United Nations of Microsoft, because you have like so many different like people coming together in one central piece, and that is Dublin. Also, one thing that's worth mentioning is that there are specific employee resource groups that you can join to make an impact when it comes to that cultural aspect. And there's also quite a lot of international events or like specific, you know, like national events that would be held at the office. So it's something that I do enjoy a lot, actually.
Just to add to that, I mean, if I look at my team, I've got 2 managers from Russia, 1 manager from India, 2 managers from Turkey, 3 managers from Ireland. And if I look at the last few people I've hired somebody from Mauritius, so they actually moved from Mauritius to Dublin for the role. Someone from the Dominican Republic, someone from Lebanon, someone from Iran, and there's been a couple of Irish people in there as well. So, I mean, the diversity in the office is, you know, I'd like to change my answer. The best thing about Microsoft Ireland is the diversity in the office. So I agree with Nadi, what Nadi was saying. It's amazing. You get to meet people with different opinions, perspectives, views. You know, it's incredible.
That's pretty awesome. And thank you
even if
for
I don't
sharing.
always agree with them, Elena.
Well, Paul, while I have you here, with so many years at Microsoft, reflecting back, what were the key decisions that you've made in your career that actually got you to where you are today?
Okay, that's a good question. So how I'd answer that with a slightly different answer. So I'm not going to talk about actual individual decisions I made, but early on in my career, I made some decisions around how I was going to make decisions. So the first thing I decided was that I was going to learn something new in every job I worked in. I'd said earlier that I worked in some roles that they weren't really right for me, and maybe I didn't enjoy as much of the role as I would have liked. But what I learned in those roles was that as long as you remain positive and look for what is the 1 or 2 things you can learn in that role that you won't get in any other role, you can make the most of it. So I always said that no matter what role I move to, I'm always going to try and learn something in it. The second thing was assume I can learn anything. So don't be afraid about taking a job in an area that I don't know. Like Microsoft is betting on you, not your current knowledge. They're betting on you being able to learn something. So I've never declined a job or not went for an opportunity because I didn't know the area. I kind of put my money on someone taking a bet on me and giving me the opportunity to show I can go in there, I can learn, and I can work in that space. And the last thing was, don't be afraid to take risks. You know, it's easy to be afraid of the next job or to be afraid of doing something that's very different, even moving country. Like, I'll give you a good example. I was on vacation one summer and I got a phone call on a Tuesday from my manager saying they're looking for someone to go and move to the US to work on a project. I had 2 hours to make my decision. So I was on holidays. I was in holiday vacation mode. I wasn't in work mode. I had 2 hours to make a decision. And you know what? I made the decision straight away in the phone call and I said, you know what, I'll do it. That sounds like it'd be a great experience. So 2 weeks later, I landed in Seattle and I lived there for 2 years after I made that decision. So take risks. Don't be afraid to take risks. That's, you know, if you want to go in and do the same job for 20 years, you know, you can do that. But if you want to take risks and try different things, because I've had the most fun in the roles where I took the biggest risk to take. And it was scary, but it was always worth it.
That's cool. And thank you, Paul. And talking about risks, by the way, Janan, what was the most important risk you took and why?
Wow. So I think, you know, it was taking this decision, moving to Dublin after my 45 with my 2 teenager children. You know, one of them was 18, the other one was 13. And it was a totally big life change for all of us. But I wanted to make this change because of, you know, several things. But the main reasons was that they were professionally, I wanted to gain a, you know, a bigger multinational business management experience. Because I only work for Turkey and Middle East and Africa, but I wanted to, you know, gain this experience and to, you know, take further steps in my career on the leadership roles. And the second big reason was, you know, I wanted to give a different vision to my children. So we were all together in our comfort zone in Turkey. We had a lovely life there, but, you know, moving to Dublin, living in such a lovely environment, we gained a lot as the family as well. So I think, you know, it sounds like taking a risk, but at the end it became a big gain for me and for my children. And why we are so happy, you know, when you have two children, two teenagers in your family, one, again, there's an age difference as well between them. 18 years old was not happy at all in the beginning because he hated the decision. He hated me. He didn't want to speak with me for a year. But when he started his college, you know, he built new friendship. He liked the, you know, the young life in Dublin, and he is the most happiest person in the family now. For my second one, she's you know, she was so energetic and she was so friendly to everybody. So it was easy for her to adapt herself to this environment. And from day one, she could build a team of, you know, friends for herself. And she is the most happiest, again, second happiest maybe person in the family. Regarding me, I could achieve my target, you know. I came here to manage Turkey and Israel account executive teams. And then in my second year, I moved to the solution team unit as a manager for Middle East and Africa and Germany. So I had a chance to manage a highly developed market and emerging market as well. So two big regions. It was a totally big challenge for me because, you know, just think about the cultural differences of these two markets. And in MIA, we have 80 different countries, more than 80 different countries, and most of them, they speak a different language. They have different traditions. They have different habits of negotiation. And in your insights, you know, this personal touch is really very important. Yana, you know, explained it very well. So your touch to their brain and to their heart is really very important. And I learned a lot, you know, adapting myself to these different cultures. And now currently I'm managing Germany, and I'm dreaming to manage another multinational, you know, region in the future. So this is endless. And again, you know, in the beginning, it was sounding like a risk, but it was a big opportunity.
That's really great, Canan, and then I can definitely, you know, relate to a relocation with children as well. I myself moved with a 5-year-old from Russia to UK about 6 years ago, and you know, depending on the age, you know, kids learn differently, but I guess that's one of the things that we can give our children, right? The opportunity to know, to learn different cultures, different ways of thinking, of living, etc. So it is a risk, but it pays well.
Maybe I can add a few more things on that, because, you know, I'm thinking that in our audience, maybe there are some people with families, and how is the experience moving to Dublin? School-wise, you know, social life, building, you know, this social life as well for their entire family. Actually, there are lots of alternatives on the school side as well. Educate Together, they are new schools for Ireland, but their mindset is, you know, they are open to every kind of personalities. They are highly diverse and they are highly inclusive. And there are some traditional schools as well. Still, they have boys and girls schools, if you like the idea. So depending on your choice, there are multiple alternatives on the schooling. Regarding the social life or building a, you know, social network in Ireland, I was very lucky. You know, I had wonderful neighbors, wonderful colleagues in Microsoft building, but outside of Microsoft as well, really, I had wonderful neighbors. And the Irish people, they are highly talkative, they are highly supportive. You know, it is very easy to communicate and you never feel yourself alone. And as Yana did, again, you know, you have lots of opportunities for networking, for socializing. So don't be afraid of moving to Dublin. And again, as a reminder, I would like to repeat it again. Mm-hmm. If you are, you know, if you are keen to join to Microsoft, please keep an eye on our open positions. So they are publicly announced, and look at them. And if you find any of them is interesting, just ping us on LinkedIn.
Thank you, Canan. That's really great. Thank you. Nadia, I have a question for you on the growth mindset. How do you demonstrate the growth mindset in your day-to-day job? Like, how does it work in reality?
Well, I suppose there are a few things. So first of all, like I would really advise everyone joining Microsoft to be a learn-it-all, so not a know-it-all. We've really seen that shift in culture when Satya Nadella has joined. As Paul said, there will always be some gaps when applying for a job or starting a new role. So I think it's just important to go that extra mile and don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone because this is how you grow ultimately. Also, you need to take advantage of the resources that are available to you. So we do have quite a lot of options. So whether that is a Headspace subscription to really make sure, you clear up your mind, you meditate, you're grounded and present. The Financial Times, courses such as Challenger, High Performance Mindset, Prochi certifications. Also, it's important to ask for help, look up to mentors, colleagues, leadership teams. If you see that like one of your fellow account executives is very strong in one particular area, just, set up half an hour with them, sit down and learn from them, because this is how we operate and work at Microsoft. And this is something that's important to keep in mind. Also, every person you meet knows something you don't. So be curious, ask questions, be comfortable enough saying, I don't know. It's okay not to have all the answers. If you don't know the answer, you probably know someone who does or someone who knows the answer. So really don't be afraid to ask for help. Also, anyone you would ping via Teams will get back to you and will be willing to give you a helping hand. It's also important, like as my role, so as an account executive, again, like I'm the face of Microsoft in front of my customers. So you want to be a trusted advisor to your customers. So you need to stay up to date with all the relevant information. So the trends, what is happening in the industry, any news as well. Like for instance, if a company got acquired, how will it impact you? I think it's just important to always keep those factors that are external in mind that will impact your day-to-day job. It's also important to broaden and build up your network outside your team, region, and org. Jana was talking about this earlier, because it just gives you a whole lot of perspectives. Also, it's important to get involved outside of your role, because at the end of the day, you will learn life-long skills and also get new experiences from that you can actually apply in your day-to-day role in a different way, and that will just help you as well build your personal brand. I think also one thing that's very common to Microsoft, don't be intimidated by the acronyms. So we have a habit to start throwing acronyms left and right. I still don't know many of them. So if someone is just babbling to you, just pause for a second, ask them what it means, and it's okay. Most important, really, just, be yourself and trust the process.
Very inspiring, thank you. I actually have a question to Jana, but I think I want to share that question with Paul as well. Jana, what advice would you give to someone who wants to build or continue their career with Microsoft?
Build or continue? Well, Nadia answered that really well with the learning curve. If you don't know, ask, because by the time you learn something specific, for sure, the technology moves so fast that it already will be redundant. So you need to be a specialist in your own field, get to know the network of the people around you who are specialists in their fields, and start using your network. So coming back to these points that I mentioned before, build the network and then use the network. Altruism, do something for them, ask for a favor, ask to join the customer call. Perhaps, maybe you could help me out, upskill me here a little bit. I don't understand something. Please let me know. Yammer, we have so many discussions, different topics on Yammer. I super proud. I managed to get to talk to product team. I thought these people are not reachable. No, I wrote to them, they replied, we managed to get cooperation with Microsoft running for the voice recognition. I was like, whoa, this is so cool. And learning. So I signed up deliberately for every workshop possible. There was one that I will never forget, where they taught us how to properly use Outlook. So I have been using Outlook for 12 years. I thought like I'm pretty good with it. So after this training, I was like, I know nothing. I knew nothing. Now I can save 1 to 2 hours per day when not opening Outlook in emails, rather opening Outlook in calendar with manageable tasks. I didn't know one can do this. So yes, continuously learn. And this is basically the advice for the after onboarding until you're a mature worker. But the advice for moving the roles, I would say, visualize it. Think, on the 1st of August, I want to be a manager. Or on the 1st of August, I want to change workload from Azure to Power BI because I love data so much. So where do I need to start? Backtrack it. It means by 1st of May, I have to apply for the role and have interviews. It means by 1st of April, I have to talk to my manager. And you will be surprised. I thought if you talk to manager, they won't let you go. No, my manager was like, go. Do it. If that's what makes you happy, you have to go. Otherwise, I'll be unhappy. I was like, wow. And then March. If I want to go to Power BI, it means I have to take the fundamentals exams. I need to already show my initiative, inspiration, talk to the right people. Let me check the organizational chart. Oh, they're the ones. I know them. I met them for coffee. Let me talk to them once again. So that's how you structure it. And then you kind of do this inception. Plant the idea in the head of the manager that you're the right person for this role. It might work. It might not. You know, competition is fair. You got to try. If not, wasn't meant to be. Try again, try again. I saw somebody wrote that they tried 15 times. I tried 30 times to join Microsoft. So at the end, it does pay out. But don't forget, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Change something. A little bit, tweak CV, make a professional photo. You know, ask somebody to refer you, try a different role, perhaps get a little bit more work experience, rephrase something. If you want to apply for sales, fix your CV. I saw 3 pages CVs, huge. We don't have time to read 1,000 CVs. It's hard. Please understand. So what about 1 page, amazing photo, results, and the personality? I saw so many CVs without personality. Your languages, boast them. Your volunteering work, boast it. In between jobs, show us, because it's expensive, requires a lot of planning, shows you're willing to take risks, go for results. I mean, do it. Be a personality. And I give free courses. No, I don't give free courses, but I'm happy to help you with your CV, to take a look at it and refer you afterwards. Okay, thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thanks, Jana. Paul, do you mind also jumping in with advice for someone who wants to build or continue a career at Microsoft?
I'm not sure if I can. Like, I don't know if I don't like following Jana. She's way too energetic, and I'm just not the same personality as her, so I'm not as exciting. But I'll try. Look, for me, it's all about being intentional. It's about knowing what you want, understanding what's needed to get there, and following through. I mean, lots of people know what they want, but whether they understand what they need to get there or to follow through is the part that people sometimes stop at. But look, I would say for me, it's always be intentional. Don't ever glide through stuff. I mean, make decisions about what you want and know what you want and what you're good at. Other than that, I'd say just follow all of Jana's advice, because I'm going to start following it now.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. I think we need to be really mindful of the time. Time just passed by really quickly. And let me maybe open for questions from the audience. And I see that Miriam and Emilia passed through several of the questions. Maybe I'll start with one for Janan. And Janan, a question for you on mentorship program at Microsoft. How does it look like?
Actually, mentorship is a particularly important part of career development in Microsoft. Let me give you some insights, maybe how we are approaching career development and how we are approaching mentorship afterwards. So every employee needs to own their career by themselves, and then they need to think about what I would like to do next and what will be my next +1, next +2 steps, and what will be the roles I would like to be in, what I would like to gain as experience. And then after working on this career development plan by themselves, we are always sitting together with the the direct manager and reviewing the ambition, the needs, the gaps, and what is ready now for the next step or for the next role, but is not ready now there yet. And then according to this analysis, we are using different tools to address the need. Mentorship is one of them, and it's a huge, very important learning opportunity for the mentee and for the mentor. So both sides, they are learning a lot during this journey together. So mentee and mentors, they need to be understand each other. They need to be transparent to each other. There must be really a trust-based relationship, very open relationship between them, and they need to be focused on the target, what is on the purpose. So what we would like to gain out of this relationship, and they need to prepare themselves before their meeting. They need to work. They need to keep their mind open. They need to work on their purpose, and then at the end of the journey they need to gain something regarding this purpose. So this is the generic approach, and we have different sub-programs in Microsoft to support this mechanism. So for example, we have a group of mentees and we have a group of mentors. So they are coming together and randomly they are selecting each other to work on a subject. So this is usually for the the junior roles. When you gain seniority on the role, or when you gain experience on the role, you can become a mentor for your colleague, for the for your peer, or you can always request mentorship from different levels as well. So it is not only the the 1 level high, 2 level high kind of relationship. Again, we believe that everybody can learn from each other, and there is something to to learn from everybody in this organization.
That's pretty awesome. Thank you. I have a question to Paul. So from the audience, there's a phrase in Swedish which I'm sorry, I will not be able to pronounce, but the question is, I'm soon done with my CS degree and wonder if you miss working with the technical stuff, for example, programming and software engineering.
Yeah, so this is the question of moving away from a technical role. I think I answered that in text, but that's a very good question, because it was a very big deal for me to make that decision to move away from technology. And as I said in my answer, it was a very deliberate decision I made. I knew I had to make that decision at some point. Would I stay technical or would I move into other types of roles? And I'm a complete nerd at heart. I'm a techie nerd at heart. I still am. I'm the one trying out new programming languages and installing the latest technology to try it out. So I'm still a techie at heart. But I decided for me it was more important to get a diversity of roles and have more types of opportunity than to remain technical. But I do have friends who I'm still very good friends with that worked in the development side with me, and some of them are still developers, some of them are managing development teams, so they stayed technical. But for me, it was a tough decision, but I don't think if I had the time back again, I'd make the same decision. I think it was the right thing for me.
Thank you. I have a question to Nadia. How does Microsoft support internal career development, especially that is non-vertical, i.e. cross-function, cross-profession?
That's a very good question, actually. So one thing that's worth mentioning, which I'm a big fan of personally, is how open everybody is, and how you always have the option to schedule what we call an informational with anybody, anytime, to explore roles and options. In that case, I would suggest or advise maybe to have what we call a walking deck. So this would basically give the person a quick snippet about your career and personal background. I would use it more like a combination of what is not on your LinkedIn and what is not on your resume, and that you're trying to highlight, like, why are you talking to this person specifically? so they can also understand a little bit more about yourself, what you're trying to achieve, and also like why them. So I think it's always good to give them a little bit more context. So maybe you've heard the person speak in a particular event, maybe they held a presentation, maybe you've heard about their experience, and you're just trying to get like a little bit more exposure to that. I had also previously mentioned the Career Advisory Board as part of the Careers V team. So we're driving a number of initiatives there to further help employees take ownership of their careers. So really at Microsoft, we have this this idea and this vision that everybody should own their career. So like no one's going to hand it to you on a golden platter. If you really want something, you should be curious, you should explore options. And again, everybody is very open, so you do have the right environment to do so. So also one thing that we do is that we would invite digital sales alumni. So people who started in Dublin and moved to different subsidiaries come in and share their story, maybe like how they did the move, what they found helpful. We also have sometimes managers who are sharing their own personal development plan as a concrete example, which I find like very transparent. And of course, it's really appreciated.
That's perfect. Thank you. I'll give a next question to Janan, and that's like from a little bit different kind of a topic area. But the question is, what is Microsoft's back to office policy, and how is a week we are required to be in the office?
Okay, good question. So the policy says that it depends on the role and it depends on the need of the business actually. So we are highly flexible on that, but we would like to be in the office more than 50% usually for most of the roles, because we believe and we know that collaboration is really an important factor on your success. Not only the business results only, but on your own success, because when you are in the office, you have a chance to meet people from different teams. You have a chance to, when you are on the queue for the lunch, you have a chance to speak with someone new and gain something new from this person. So this is an experience you cannot find by working remotely. And think about the last 2 years situation. We were hiring people as managers and as the new hires. It was the most difficult time of our, entire life maybe, because everybody needed to stay at home, needed to learn by themselves. And as the manager, you had a limited chance to observe how was this learning going on, how was the progress is going on. So because of that, we decided to be in the office more than 50%. Every week, so it is weekly. Of course, there are other nice part of being in Microsoft Office in Ireland, because we have lots of facilities, like we have a wonderful gym, we have yoga classes, Pilates classes, we have a group of musicians, so lots of socializing opportunities as well is awaiting in the office are people. So the decision is that if I could answer the question, so 50% plus being in the office to succeed, plus to enjoy.
Do we have a band in Irish Office, by the way? That's an interesting question, just popped up in my mind.
We have a music room. So we have equipment, drums and guitars, and so there are some bands and there's a choir.
Yeah. There's a music room, there's a yoga room, there's a gym, there is a physiotherapist, hairdresser, you name it.
Right, so now I'm seriously thinking. You got me thinking, John. I have a question to Paul, I guess, because you've already mentioned a little bit about the diversity of your team, and and maybe you can talk to that too. And the question from the audience is, I'm curious, how do you support diversity and open-minded international working environment at Microsoft?
Yeah, so I'd replied to that message earlier as well. So look, I see in companies my friends are in, they try and be diverse and inclusive, but it's like the team is 10 Irish people. We've no choice in Microsoft to be open, diverse, and international because our teams are open, diverse, and international. So when your team is made up of people from multiple different countries, that drives diversity, inclusion, and openness in itself. So I would say this isn't going to sound like a diverse statement because I only have about, I think, 5 or 6 Irish people on my team, and I have a lot on my team. So, you know, it's not we don't have to make an effort. It is diverse, open, and inclusive because the team is so diverse. You couldn't but be like that. So, you know, one thing that's unique, again, I'm not trying to change my answer on unique about Dublin, but one thing that's unique in other Microsoft offices, they're supporting the country that the office is based in. We support all of EMEA from Dublin. So we need people that speak Arabic, we need people that speak French, German, Italian, and we try and hire as many native speakers as we can. Now, we don't only exclusively hire native speakers, but we try. So we've got people from all over the world. So you cannot be diverse and inclusive when your team is made up like that. You just can't be. You're going to be naturally diverse. Look, it's an important topic, and we do a lot. We have diversity and inclusion teams in Microsoft helping drive a better culture. But I think you know, it's a natural thing when your team is made up of all those different nationalities, people with different mindsets, people with different genders, people with different thoughts. Your team has to be diverse if it is diverse, and I think that's the approach we've taken.
That's perfect. I guess, you know what, I guess we're at time actually. And let me thank everyone again for joining us today and our speakers for sharing. I really enjoyed the conversation today and I hope everyone enjoyed the discussion. I want to encourage everybody as well to connect with us on LinkedIn and check our careers website as well. And that's it. That's a wrap. Thank you.
Thanks, Elena, and thanks for everyone for joining.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.